Brawlers, baby.
And we are. It's your boy Rick Muhammad, Brawler Sports Media in the building. This is the Brawler Sports Boxing Show. We are back. I got my main man GMoney with me right now. We're here to do a recap on the Canelo Alvarez versus BJS Billy Joe Sander this past weekend. A hell of a performance by Canelo. A lot of people question if he could cut the ring off from a true boxer who had good footwork, good ring savvy like Billy Joe Sanders. And Billy Joe Sanders, not to take nothing from Billy Joe Sanders, he came out and did his thing, and he tried to, clown Canelo a little bit, and he had some good fortune with it. But once Canelo figured out taking that ring from him, that was it, G. Other than that, what did you think about the fight overall?
I think Canelo was in control from the opening round, honestly, from round one on. It's kind of, you just got that feel that he was just in total control and was going to win the fight. And, Canelo proved that he could cut off the ring now. And I don't understand why Billy Joe was so adamant about getting that 22-foot ring when in the beginning rounds he barely even used it. He didn't use his legs like I thought he would.
Right. And piggybacking what you just said about Canelo being in control of the fight from the sound of the bell, round one, that's absolutely 100, because that guy is so comfortable and relaxed in the boxing ring, man. It's like he's in his own world. It's like he's in a comfort zone when he steps into that square. He's just like a kid in Disneyland. He's right where he wanted to.
Yeah, I haven't seen anybody that comfortable since Floyd in his prime. Like where you just get that feel to where they literally just, they're in that ring and they know they're going to win. I haven't seen that since Floyd.
Once Canelo, he came out, attacking. And once he really started making some really good angle shots to the body, he was really clocking Billy Joe Sanders to the liver and to the kidney shots, and bringing it back upstairs to the head. That's how he caught him with that uppercut. He caught him with several uppercuts, but the one that did the damage at the end, he stuck with those uppercuts because he knew Billy Joe just couldn't get out of the way of him. So he attacked the body real nice, went to the head, made him fight, turned it into a dog fight, and he just did what he normally do. He started chopping you down.
Yeah, and I think that was a big key, was that left hook to the body. And Billy Joe didn't have an answer for that. He couldn't block it. He couldn't get out the way of it. And Canelo, he's so good with his feints that, you think you're going to do something in there with him, but he'll feint you and make you think he's throwing a right hook, and he'll throw his jab, uppercut. So I think it was just, he had too much tools for Billy Joe.
And he showed he fights from good angles. Canelo has nice angles where he fights from. There's no off balancing with him footwork wise. Wherever he's positioned in that stance at that moment, he could deliver a fatal shot. Whether he's sitting on his butt, whether he's off balance, he's going to deliver that shot. It's going to get through.
Yeah, for sure. And what? Let's get into whether Billy Joe quit or not. What do you think?
At first, before I really knew what happened, I called him everything under the sun. But being in the boxing industry and boxing myself and being around world champions myself, I understood what it meant, because I'm all for safety and protecting the fighter first and foremost, and give them another chance to fight another day, opposed to ruining their career and or ruining life after boxing when they have families to go home to and continue to be a dad, a brother, uncle, things of this nature. And so once I heard that there was orbital damage to the orbital bone in his eye, then I understood that the corner did the right thing. However, Billy Joe Sanders was real critical about Daniel Dubois when he took a knee after Joe Joyce clocked him to get his faculties back, take the standing 8 count, which was the smart thing to do. And Billy Joe Sanders was like, hey, if that was me, both my eyes would have to be closed shut, my jaw was broken, and nothing's going to stop me from going out on my shield.
Yeah, that came back to bite him. Yeah.
it was up to his corners. But people were criticizing that hey, don't talk about Billy Joe Sanders quitting and he's a punk and he's the P word and the B word. But they got to understand that how critical he was for something similar, where a fighter was smart enough to take a knee opposed to taking more damage.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you could look at it in all different kind of ways, but I mean, we don't know exactly what went on in the corner. There was no commentary from the zone. And I mean, ultimately, your trainer has the say on whether the fight continues, and his trainer waved it off. It's not like we seen Billy Joe wave his hands, or we don't know what happened, but it appears that Tibbs knew he couldn't go on, so he stopped it. So I can't say he quit, but I mean, for him being so critical of Daniel Dubois, it came back to bite him kind of, because it's the same fate,
Right, and I'd like to hear, if I could interview Billy Joe Sanders and or his coach right now, I'd like to hear how his reactions are to all the criticism about him quitting and not finishing on the Shield, and based on what he did say about Daniel Dubois versus Joe Joyce, and how is he taking that criticism now that the roles are reversed and they're against him now?
Yeah, one thing I'll say is, I'm not going to say he quit, but he definitely didn't complain when his trainer stopped it. Like he seemed okay with that happening. You didn't get no reaction when the fight was called off. He just sat there. So
it's a different era of boxing, different era of fighters right now. More scary times. I don't know. I mean, I always look back at when Sugar Ray Leonard in the first Tommy Hearns fight, and his retina was damaged, and hey, Sugar Ray wouldn't quit until he won that fight, and you can see his eye was just knotted up, and he had to have emergency surgery after that fight. So, and that's what you call going out on the Shield. But in today's boxing world, I get it. Back in 2019, we had so many deaths in the ring, man. And a lot of trainers, if they're not scared, they should be afraid for their fighters. And first and foremost, if you work with a fighter every day, he's more like a family member to you at that point. So it's up to you to protect him, because his tolerance and his level of pain, what he can take opposed to what he can't take. And when you've had enough of it, knowing him enough to throw that towel in and calling that fight. Did you freeze up, G? He dropped off. But anyway, that's my theory on everything. And going into Billy Joe Sanders, who knows what's next for him? But Canelo, we definitely want to see Canelo fight. We definitely want to see him fight Caleb Plant, so he could go ahead and just unify this super middleweight division, if you will, and keep it moving. And then after that, he's talking about fighting Arthur Beterbiev at 175, which he can do because he beat Kovalov at that weight class. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people was doubting Canelo at first, saying he's fighting lesser opponents for all the money he's worth, and he's supposed to be top fighter, pound for pound. Why won't he fight Charlo? Things of this nature. It's like, I mean, hey, now he's ready to. He's fighting him. So let's see what happens. I mean, he's not going to have a problem. He's not going to have a problem fighting Caleb Plant and/or beating Caleb Plant. Yeah, we thought you dropped off. I just kept it moving, G. I'm talking about Caleb Plant versus Canelo now, and I don't think it'll be a problem. You got a light or something you can turn on in that room so they can see you, G-Money? A little more light. And so Caleb Plant, Caleb Plant can box. Don't get me wrong. He had a hell of an amateur career. Another boxer like Billy Joe Sanders, but I don't think it's going to be a problem for Canelo. And I think Canelo's going to definitely have good fortune when he fights Caleb Plant. If that fight happens in September, I don't know. We got to see if Eddie Hearns and Al Heyman are going to work along side by side in putting that fight together. Right. Al Heyman knows. You got to know. Hey, is Caleb Plant? He's a good fighter. He's my fighter. Can he beat Canelo? Will he beat Canelo? Do I want to take this risk, or are we gonna play this thing out? Well, I don't know. That fight, I'm gonna say that fight may not happen because there's two different promoters involved, two different networks. Yeah. You got Fox and Showtime, and you got Matchroom Boxing Promotion and The Zone and PBC. I don't know. We just have to wait and see. I mean, hey, things look how things worked out with Pacquiao and Floyd. It took 5 years.
Yeah. I mean, I think that this opportunity might not come again for Caleb Plant, so I feel like he better take it. He has to. But does
Yeah,
he have the
he'll never
experience?
make the money he's gonna make at this fight level here.
Yeah, but I don't know if he has the experience, to compete with Canelo. But he does have the attributes, I think, to make it interesting. He's fast. He's got good defense, and I think he's more technically sound than Billy Joe. Billy Joe's more awkward, but I think
Most
Caleb
definitely.
is more technically sound. But
Yeah,
I
Caleb,
mean,
in my opinion, is a better fighter than Billy Joe Sanders, both punching power wise as well as footwork.
yeah.
He's more sound.
But I mean, again, like Canelo at this point, man, he's just hard to beat. And I think what it would take somebody with a lot of power and great defense to beat Canelo, and somebody who can fight on the inside. Like he's shown that just using your feet and outboxing him is not going to work because he's a great boxer as well with good defense. So you kind of match what he has. Like a fighter like James Toney in his prime would match up well versus Canelo, I think. You know what I mean? That inside
Yeah.
fighting,
And
slipping.
awkward. Slipping,
Yeah.
slap, rolling underneath, working the body, coming back up top to the head, stepping around and spinning him, and then back on the jab. As soon as he turn around looking for you, pop, 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 you right back in his face, stay in his chest. I think someone of the caliber of a Bud Crawford, but with good punching power, but that same boxing IQ, that same footwork as Terrence Crawford. Someone like that, slick, versatile.
Yeah.
He was off the charts and has the same equal matching power as Canelo.
Right.
That's the fighter we're gonna have to see versus him to see if he even comes near close losing.
Yeah. And I mean, I think Caleb Plant, that's a good start, for far as like the attributes we just named, But I think with everything we just said, I think Charlo is probably the next guy that would fit those attributes. He has a great jab. He could take a punch. He's athletic. But, I really don't know if Canelo will be beat anytime soon. I don't know if I see it.
Let's talk about that since you touched on Charlo real quick. It's been said that Charlo and Danny Jacobs possibly are going to pair up.
Yeah.
I think Charlo walks right through Danny Jacobs, in my opinion. No disrespect. I like Danny Jacobs, the Miracle Man, but I don't think he can stand in front of Charlo all night.
I don't think so either. I think that at this point in Daniel Jacobs' career is kind of towards the end. I mean, he just had a draw with Gabe Rosado, yeah. And no disrespect to Gabe, but I mean, he's kind of like a very tough, sturdy journeyman. You know what I mean?
He's a top contender, but he can't get the job done and be a champion.
Right. So I feel like if Daniel Jacobs, and a lot of people thought Gabe won that fight.
I thought Gabe did enough to get a split decision at least.
Yeah. So
in worst case scenario, call it a draw.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Charlo, he's in his prime right now, undefeated. He's got the momentum on his side, and I'm not even interested in that fight, honestly.
That's the young lions, and that might be detrimental for Danny Jacobs. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. It could be.
But moving right along to the smaller guys now, hasn't really been officially announced, but it is posted on Mayweather's website that Tank Davis is moving up to super lightweight to fight for that title versus Marco Barreros. That's a hell of a fight.
Yeah,
that's
it
a
is.
tough fight coming up for Tank Davis. And that fight is supposed to be June 26th, but the venue and all the other details to be announced.
Right. I see that fight literally going exactly like the Santa Cruz fight went. Almost identical to that. I think Mario Barrios is going to give him a lot of problems early on because, he's moving up. What is it? 1 weight class, 2 weight classes. Tank stays from 130 to 35, but he's going up to 140. And Mario is a big, strong 140 guy. And, I think he's taller than Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
Bigger, stronger. And, he's a good fighter. So I think for as long as it lasts, he'll be in the fight until Tank lands his devastating power. That's what I think.
Would you call this a better test fight for Tank fans than to just praise him right out based off of the Leo Santa Cruz knockout? Great knockout, don't get me wrong, but he knocked out a bantamweight.
Right. And Leo was moving up from 126.
Leo was 119 at best, soaking wet. So
I don't know. I mean, with this fight, it's hard for me to say because when Tank moved up to 135 to fight Yuriokas Gamboa, he couldn't get Gamboa out of there. And Gamboa has shown that he has a suspect chin.
And he's an older Gamboa too.
And
So
he was kind of like
really
way
walk
past
through
his
him.
prime. So I mean, moving up to fight Mario Barrios, I'm not sure if Tank will stop him. I mean, I know Tank has power, but at 135, he couldn't get Gamboa out of there, and I don't know. We'll
Good
have to see what
point.
happens.
Yeah. Really, that's a
Hmm.
good point. What else we got here? Looks like, well, they said this before that Joshua and Fury looks like it's a done deal. Set for August
14th,
sometime
right?
7th or the 14th in
Hmm.
Saudi. It's a go. A couple of weeks ago, it was a no go. I felt like we was getting ready to launch a missile up in from NASA.
Yeah.
Yeah, we go no go here, Houston. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. Now it's supposedly all the details are ironed out. It's a go. It's a win, and the venue and the site is in Saudi Arabia.
Hmm. I mean, that's gonna be a good fight, but I don't know. I kind of feel like I just wish it was AJ versus Deontay Wilder. Remember when that fight was built up to be hyped like this
That
is?
was all the hype, and everybody was
Yeah.
like, "Let's do it."
That
After the
was
Ortiz fight, everybody really thought
yeah.
it was going
That
to
that
be a Wilder versus Joshua.
that was like the big mega fight because it was two power punchers, and that's what we want to see in the heavyweight division. But I mean, Fury stopped Wilder, so if Fury comes and fights like he did Wilder, I think he stops Joshua as well because I think Wilder has a better can take a punch better than Joshua and has a better chin. And we've seen every time Joshua gets touched on his chin clean or whether it's the temple, he seems to fall. So for as long as that fight lasts, I think it'll be good. But I think Fury might get him out of there.
Yeah, I do too. Uh, and here's the thing: Wilder versus Joshua would have been a superstar mega fight.
It would have been
Fury
huge.
versus Joshua is going to be just as big. Two Brits fighting,
Yeah,
and all of Britain going to support this fight big. They'll be flying all over to Dubai and
right.
Saudi. It's going to be Brit land up
Yeah.
in Saudi. That fight, numbers wise, uh, pay per view wise, oh, it's going to exceed expectations, bro.
Oh
Trust me.
yeah. It's
And they
and
have
like
a
the
guaranteed
difference.
match clause. And the
Yeah.
second fight's going to do as big as the first fight. I don't care if they put it on the moon.
Right.
It's going to have big numbers.
And like you said, they have all the Brits back in this fight. So, but I think the difference with that is they had the Brits, so it's bigger in the UK. Whereas if Joshua and Wilder would have happened, it'd be bigger in America than what it is now. You know what I mean? For Joshua Fury, Wilder versus AJ would have been bigger in America for us fans.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I feel that way too. Before we go, let's touch on the Circus Act with the is it Logan Paul or
I said, got
and
your hat.
Floyd Mayweather, and he snatched Floyd's head and said, "Ha ha, I got your hat."
Yeah.
I mean, Floyd is a genius, man. He's a businessman. He markets himself very well. He knows exactly what he's doing to get the numbers where he needs them to be for all the Fanimo pay-per-view buys. And he's
Yeah.
going to he's getting, I think, 100 million, and whatever he gets on the back end of pay-per-view, Floyd going to walk away with his 300 million at the end. So,
Yeah.
I mean, how you feel
So,
about it? As
I mean,
little as he looks against this guy, I'm like, keep it 100. Floyd got mad skills. Is Floyd big enough to stand in front of this guy? Honestly,
But listen, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't like this for Floyd. I don't like it. I do not like it. Not saying that this dude's gonna beat Floyd. Floyd's the greatest ever, yes. But I just don't like it because let's just say the freak accident happens and he does get knocked out. I feel like his legacy will forever be remembered as him getting knocked out by Logan Paul. I think everything he's done will be forgotten. I feel
by a YouTuber.
right, and especially if he really gets knocked out. You know what I mean? Or so I just don't like it, man. I mean, you got all the money you could have, all you could want, and I just
I think
think
it's
that
going to be like WWE. All of it's going to be staged and fake, and both of them going to run out the arena fast as hell with a bag full of money.
with a big check, huh? I mean,
Yeah, it is what it is.
I'll watch it. It's entertaining. I guess I'll watch it, but I mean, I just if it is legit, I think it's dangerous to do this and mess with your legacy. Because for one thing, I mean, Logan Paul obviously can't touch Floyd, but This kid is 6'2", 200 pounds. So, I mean, I'm sure he has some kind of strength. You know what I mean? So, I mean, what if he happened to...
Floyd is what, 5'5", 5'6"?
Yeah, like 5'7", 5'8", 5'7".
5'7", if that, yeah, 5'7".
Right.
You're gonna
So,
do what? 6 feet, 200 pounds.
I know, and you weigh 154 walking around. So, I mean, that's why I say it could be dangerous. Do I think Floyd's going to lose? No. I think he'll probably stop the kid. But I just think he's playing with fire, taking these kind of fights.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, if you miss the sport of boxing that much, a sport that you've dedicated your entire youth and adulthood to before you walked away as one of the best ever. And I mean, hey, come back and fight in your craft. That's my thing. Come back and fight these welterweights that say they the best. Come out of retirement and pull a Sugar Ray Leonard versus Hagler and fight Spence or Bud for us.
Right. But like Floyd said,
or fight Thurman. Give Thurman that shot.
He said he'll never do that at this point because his health is most important. So that goes to show me that, he probably knows that at this point in his career, he can't win that fight,
Yeah.
So.
Okay. All right. Have we left anything on the table? Anything that's up and coming, whether it's up and prospect, world champions right now? What's out here that we forgetting?
How do you let's touch on the pound for pound list that ESPN just came out with. What are your thoughts on them putting Bud Crawford ahead of Canelo as number
I've had a lot of people. I told a lot of people the reason, and they said reverse that. Put Canelo as number one, Bud as number two. If Canelo was an ESPN fighter, I absolutely concur with that because resume for resume, there's no comparison. Bud's resume to Canelo's resume.
Mm-hmm.
But since Canelo's not an ESPN fighter, this is why they've listed Bud as their top dog because he fights on ESPN.
Right.
And he's a top-ranked fighter. So, and Top Rank has ESPN and ESPN Plus. It makes sense. But knowing boxing, hell no, you can't put him in front of Canelo.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. That's got to be the only reason because Crawford's my favorite fighter in boxing right now. But there's no way. There's no way he's number one over Canelo. There's no way. Canelo's hands down number one right now.
Boxing, you're not gonna just agree with something when you know damn well it's wrong.
Right. Yeah. So I disagree when I seen that, but I mean Crawford's a great fighter in his own right, but Canelo is by far number one pound for pound right now.
By far number one, and we still love you, Bud. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, Bud, you're my favorite fighter, man. I'm just saying. I'm just keeping it honest,
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm glad you brought that up because getting ready to close out, and I wanted to make sure we wasn't leaving nothing on the table, leaving our viewers and our followers disinformed, if you will. Yeah. So what we try to do here at Brawlers, we try to keep you guys abreast, all the boxing news, everything that we put out daily. That's what we do. When we know, up and coming fighters, prospects, future boxing, future world champions, all the fighters that's already hit that pinnacle in their career, they're currently carrying straps, if you will, to my main man and my cousin, my main man, Vincent Colasso, who keeps Brawler's website looking fabulous, keeps my articles going, my thumbnails, if you will. If you need a website or anything like that, you need to message this brother here, Vincent Colasso, Collasso. He will get your business up and running. He does a lot for Brawler Sports Media, Brawler Sports Management, if you will, and he does a hell of a job doing it. I love you, cuz. Much respect, baby. Well, G, you got anything else before we let him go?
No, that's it. Just you guys tune in. We'll have much more for you guys in the time to come.
Come Friday is our next time up. We'll be up to bat again. But that's it for now. It's your boy Rick Muhammad, Brawler Sports Media in the building. This is the Brawler Sports Boxing Show. Remember, we are not out of the woods yet. People are still dying. Some areas are still spreading the pandemic. Coronavirus is deadly. Loved ones are still dropping off. Let's continue to mask up, practice social distancing, keep our hands clean, and let's stay safe so we can stay alive. And y'all already know what I'm going to say next. Till next time. Let's go, champs! Here we go. What's going on, boxing fans? This is your boy Rick Muhammad, Brawler Sports Media in the building. This is the Brawler Sports Boxing Show. I got the head coach for the Arreola, the Nightmare, here with me, and my man GMoney. Hey, Chris Arreola, the Nightmare. We got Coach Henry Ramirez here. We want to talk to him a little bit about what his team thought, especially Arreola thought about that terrible judging and that scorecard versus Andy Ruiz. What's your thoughts? What was going through your mind in the ring, Coach? Did you think he did enough or what?
I thought early in the fight he fought very well, especially early in the first half of the fight. I thought there were some rounds in the second half of the fight where his activity had dropped. But it was a close fight. If you want to say Andy won by a point or two, I there's no issue with that. No issue. If you want to say it was 8-4 with Chris having the knockdown, which made it 115-112, that's a fair card. 114-113, that's a fair card. 118-109 or whatever it was. I mean, that was,
I think that was right.
They gave him one round, and I think the thing that probably Chris was most upset about was that he just felt he didn't get respect from the judges on how close the bout was fought on, the nature of the how close the fight was fought, the terms the fight was fought on. And he just felt like he deserved more respect, So he was obviously a little upset, obviously very upset. So
I can understand that, and I kind of felt that way too. And I know exactly where Chris was coming from, based on his analogy and all of that. All that he's done for the sport of boxing and the heavyweight division, and even though I'm older now and I'm facing retirement here soon, I'm still getting in the ring, putting my life on the line just like everybody else, with all the sacrifices that come with. And this is what you guys really think of me in the end.
Right. Yeah, he was visibly upset. One thing I told him in the dressing room after the fight, I said, Chris, you might have lost the fight, but you actually won the night. You won the night. I said, so many people, outside of his own team and supporters, so many people expected so little of him. I was a little surprised how, I was reading stuff and people were texting me, Chris don't have a shot. He's too old. He's getting knocked out in 3 or 4 rounds. I said, okay, well, that's your opinion and that's cool. But I told people, look, whenever Chris has put the work in, he's always fought well, and he did.
Yeah, he never comes in the ring slouching. I give him credit for that. He's always showed up in shape, and he even came in this ring, in this fight, at this age, in better shape than he's been in a couple of fights, with the weight loss. And he was, chiseled. And I bet they changed their minds when he put Andy Ruiz on his ass in that second round.
Yeah, when he dropped Ruiz, it was interestingly enough, Ruiz has fast hands, but Chris was winning the exchanges, especially early when they were exchanging, he was getting the better of the exchanges. His punches were a little shorter, a little sharper, even though Andy was considered the one to have a considerable edge in hand speed,
Yeah. When I saw some of the photo shots up close, and Chris beat him to the punch every time, and his punches was like dead on, like when you just see his face, like
right. But I give credit to Andy and his team. They were able to weather the storm, and he started boxing effectively in the second half. And, the one thing I was telling people was that I had never seen Chris have so much respect for an opponent, and not it's just like a mutual respect going into the fight, because we had known Andy for a long time, and him and Chris had times, so there was a lot of mutual respect when we ran through the weigh-in, through just the glove meeting, fighter meeting, nothing but mutual respect. And the great thing about it is there was mutual respect, but it didn't take away from the action of the fight. Once they got in there, hey,
business as usual.
On the side, it was business. And that good thing is that did not take away from the action of the fight.
And that respect being said, man, I mean, 2 Mexican heavyweights, one's made history and became the first ever Mexican heavyweight champion of the world. Chris ain't got nothing but love for this guy.
No, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Andy accomplished, that can never be taken away. If he ever gains the title or not, he's Mexican to ever do it. That's a big that will always be a big thing. As you've seen with Mexicans, boxing is holy, man. It's sacred. As you've seen, Canelo put 73,000 in Cowboy Stadium this past week. So
Unbelievable.
yep, it looked. I mean, just looking at that atmosphere on TV looked unreal, man. It looked
Looked unreal, but it looked like we're used to seeing it in this
right.
industry.
That's actually where I think about it, where we actually met you in person was at the Garcia and Spence card.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
we met you.
yeah. We did an interview there, me, you, and
Yeah,
Chris. Remember?
that's right there.
At the weigh-in. We was at the weigh-in.
Was it the weigh-in? Yeah, it might have been the weigh-in or yeah. Because you know
Yeah.
what's funny, interestingly enough about that, reflecting back on that week, telling everybody, that the host hotel was 30 minutes away from the venue. So everything all week was at AT&T Stadium, fighter meetings,
Yep.
undercard press conference. Wait, by the time fight night came, that was our 5th day in a row, back and forth there. Like I was done with the place, man.
Yep. It wasn't close at all.
No, it was a drive. It was a 30-minute drive.
And I didn't stay at that hotel, so I think I had about a 45-minute back and forth, back and forth, back and
Right,
forth.
right.
So it was crazy. So let me ask you this now, Chris, the Nightmare Arreola, was this loss a nightmare as far as where his career stands now? Is he going to retire? What's Chris saying now? I mean, he's not a quitter, so he'll be 60 years old. You have to hold him back from fighting.
There was things being said, immediately after the fight, like maybe there's a rematch, and to be honest, I don't expect that. I believe he wants to fight on. Rick, one of the things I'll say about fighters is, fighters have to be forced out, and what I mean by that is, for a fighter to say, okay, that's it, they have to get their ass kicked, their face kicked in. That wasn't the case here. So that, to me, that wasn't a loss where, like, okay, Chris, you don't have it anymore. He showed some signs, some life early in the fight, especially. Like I said, second half his activity dropped, but still he was in the mix right there with Andy Ruiz, probably one of the top 3 to 5 heavyweights in the world at this time considered. He's probably right below Fury and AJ. Wow,
AJ.
right in that
Yeah.
mix. So I think he's gonna fight on. But obviously it's a fight by fight situation, But he's in Hawaii right now, enjoying a vacation with his family. I reached out to him, asked him how the weather is, asked him how the trip's going. Not too much about boxing, let him unwind, and we'll get at what he plans to do afterwards.
Yeah. Well-deserved trip at that, because these guys sacrifice so much. That's what the fans don't realize, the
Right.
being away from home, in camp, can't be around your kids, your wife, none of that. None of the hanky-panky stuff's going on. So, you know what? After that fight, I said they should run this fight back, since they felt like it was a runaway. Chris and Andy could do this again before Andy moves on to possibly getting another title shot. And I mean, I could possibly see Al putting that together.
Yeah, I mean, if I know it was kicked around immediately afterwards, but you know how something that it sounded good in the aftermath, but after the dust settles and things settle down, things could change. But who knows? Maybe that will be explored and they run it back. But we'll see. Interestingly enough, Andy Ruiz did mention it immediately in his post fight interview. He said, "We could run it back. We could do a rematch." But obviously, as time goes by, maybe other fights get approached. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
See what other opportunities come your way. All right, Coach. We ain't gonna keep you much longer. My son Giovanni, he gonna jump in. He want to ask you something in closing. Go ahead, GMoney.
Hey, Coach. I just wanted to know what's your opinion on the upcoming heavyweight undisputed unification fight with AJ and Tyson Fury.
If it gets done, right, I think it's great. You're gonna have the opportunity to unify all the belts at heavyweight, which is a big thing. Mm-hmm. Now, regardless, the winner will be seen as the undisputed champion, and within probably 6 months he'll be stripped of a belt. because of a mandatory or something.
Right.
You know, these
Yeah.
whatever we'll have
Mm-hmm.
a undisputed champion. I would favor Tyson Fury, man. I honestly would favor Fury over any heavyweight on the planet.
Yeah, me as well.
Me too.
6'9", awkward, herky jerky boxer, and just a guy who has a tremendous amount of self belief, man. And he's a freaking huge personality in the boxing division, which boxing needs. Can never have enough of,
Yep.
especially in the heavyweight division. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. Great footwork.
The only thing is, the biggest shame is that fight isn't going to happen in England in a 90,000 or 100,000
Wembley. Huh?
spectators.
Yeah.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia is what they're talking about.
Money talks, right? The money talks. So
Yep, that's big money over there, and the Brits are going to support it 110%. That fight has potential to do catastrophic numbers, man.
absolutely.
And they're going to run it back with a rematch. Oh my God.
Yeah, the potential to both guys can retire, live comfortably. You know?
That's old money. Well, we're going to let you get out of here, Coach. I appreciate you giving me some of your time. Chris, wherever you are, I don't know if you're in Oahu, Maui, Kauai, Hilo, the Big Island, but I lived in Hawaii for 4 years on Oahu, stationed in Schofield Barracks, Hawaii. Enjoy that trip, brother. Much deserved. And we love you. Keep on fighting. Like Coach say, you didn't get your face bashed in or nothing like that. Bring your ass back.
Yeah, he'll probably fight definitely. So
It's your boy Rick GMoney, Brawler Sports Media. This is the Brawler Sports Boxing Show. My man Henry Ramirez, Chris the Nightmare Arreola, and my main man GMoney. Till next time, y'all. Let's go, champ.
thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Brawlers, baby.